All right, at this hour, as you will know, we are anticipating the start of the hearings at the Pietermaritzburg High Court. But some developments outside court. The supporters of the former President Jacob Zuma, who have turned up outside that court, seem to be engaged in some discussion with the police. Let's hear perhaps what is being said there.
Zuma supporters gather outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court, and as you know,
what just happened
gatherings
there?
Under lockdown level 4, which we are currently in, is illegal. And now I just want you to take a look at the police that are speaking to ANC activists, or rather Zuma supporters that are here, and at this point debating about the fact that gatherings under lockdown level 4 are illegal. The supporters here, around 40, between 30 and 40 of them, carrying placards. They're of course here to have an impact on the application that is before court today. Now, part of the road has already been cordoned off. As you can see, police are standing by and of course perhaps ready to make any arrests, because we do know that gatherings are illegal, and police have had a difficult time actually confronting the situation with regards to supporters of Jacob Zuma. We saw in Nkandla where thousands had gathered despite the restrictions that are put in place that prevent gatherings. We saw the gatherings there. Police were present, but they said that they had done an assessment of what was happening on the ground and felt that it would be unwise to take any further action because of the numbers we saw there, and to prevent any further volatile situations from unfolding. But what we see now is these police officers trying to have a conversation there with an RET member, and Kosensha Shezi, you can see him, he is in the white shirt and blue mask with a cap, speaking to the police, discussing perhaps the fact that they are gathering during this time, as we know, when it is illegal to bring together crowds. Earlier on, I spoke to Tulani Gamede. He is part of Senko Youth Congress, and he had just brought together these supporters. He said that this was not an organized gathering. He said that supporters chose themselves to come individually and demonstrate outside court. So we're going to see what action the police may take. This, as we see, we know in the third wave, and gatherings are at this point illegal. So it's unclear whether police are going to make further arrests, but the situation is quite tense here as they continue speaking to the supporters, trying to, of course, perhaps ensure that this gathering can be dispersed. As you can see, quite a number of people here. This is, as we're about to see, the virtual court hearing for Zuma's urgent application to suspend his arrest as per that Concord order we heard. And so as that unfolds, police are standing by at the High Court. Quite a number of police, in fact. Let's actually show you the force that is here. They were brought in about an hour ago when the supporters first gathered, and they're standing by ready possibly for any further orders. You can see that they are also at this point seemingly armed with stun grenades, as well as we see rubber bullets there. A number of policemen here. The road, now that I'm looking around, has been cordoned off. It was open for quite a while, but as you can see, Philani Zuma is actually the one behind the camera. This debate, a robust debate, is still ongoing. We're going to see if we can perhaps hear what exactly is being said. They are speaking about regulations at this point. Let's see if we can speak to Mr. Shezi as he's done with speaking with police. He has been on the ground gathering as well as bringing together organizers, supporters. Mr. Shezi, we're live on Newzroom Afrika. If you can just perhaps tell us what police have told you at this point, what are they?
The police has told us that they want to disperse us according to the Gatherings Act. The gathering, I'm not an Englishman, but as far as I understand, it means coming together. I said I came on my own car. I want to be allowed to stand and hold a placard in my individual right, enshrined in the Constitution to air my views. The police said I must come back tomorrow. So for today, my rights, constitutional rights, are suspended, which is very typical of an apartheid state, a state that used military to tarnish or to fight a dissenting political view. This is very undemocratic. This is very uncharacteristic of a democratic South Africa that President Mandela fought for and President Zuma fought for.
So are these members all going to disperse now? As you know, gatherings are illegal under lockdown 4.
You see, it's very hard for me to answer that question because, as I told you, I came in my own accord, individually. I came here. I did not instruct anyone to come here. But obviously, we know each other as comrades. So if we cannot get together, because that is in contravention of the Gatherings Act, what stops us from me standing alone, holding my placard as an individual, making sure that there is a 2-meter distance from each other? That is not even observed in this gathering as we stand right now.
Mr. Shezi, the former president has thousands of supporters. Do you think that they would be prepared to physically defend the arrest of the former president if his applications are not successful?
Look, I cannot predict what the future holds, but I am part of the people who are prepared to shape our future and shape the destiny of our country. Because our country right now is yearning for leadership. ANC seemingly is prepared to desert its historical mission to lead a democratic revolution that will end in the egalitarian society, a society where African people in particular will be respected as human beings in this country. African people will not be viewed as monkeys and as animals that should be subservient of a particular race in this country. And if ANC is no longer prepared to take that historical mission, we are prepared to take that mission forward. And this is what we are going to do. People of this country have said they are going to protect President Jacob Zuma to the end, even to the last drop of their blood. I'm not sure what that means, but that's what is going to happen.
Any message you have directly for the ANC, NEC, who is also making some statements about Zuma? They've disbanded the MKMVA.
The message I can tell the NEC, one is that they failed to implement the Newzroom resolutions that are going to bring change for the people of this country. Two, I can tell them that this ANC they are leading today, it was bought by the blood of Chris Hani, of Solomon Mahlangu, Isaiah Pixel Gaseme, Anton Lembete, John Langalbalele Dube. We are not going to allow them to desert the historical mission of fighting for the return of the land and changing the economy of this country to benefit the African people whose land was taken away by the thieves that came in 1652, led by a Takari #1, Jan van Riebeeck.
Thank you very much for your time. This is Mr. Nkosensha Shezi. He's part of the Radical Economic Transformation Group. He has just spoken to police, and, just take a look behind me. Philani Zuma's on the camera. The crowd has essentially dispersed. What was about 40 or so people here are no longer here. They're out, almost dispersed with members of the public, because those who were demonstrating were wearing the ANC regalia. So we don't necessarily see them any longer. It seems that the discussion with police was regarding the regulations that are in place. What the protesters or the demonstrators are saying is that they weren't organized or they weren't brought together. They came here individually. They've now been told by police to disperse. Police who are actually holding quite a firm line of defense at this point. Karinda Zuma is showing you the police standoff here around quite a number, over 10 police officers. They are ready to take any further action if need be, watching just across the street about what could actually happen. And then you also see that supporters of Jacob Zuma, we spoke earlier to Tulani Gamede, we spoke now to the RET representative, Mr. Shezi, they're saying that they're ready to take whatever means necessary, even physically and personally, to prevent the arrest of the former president should his current court applications today, as well as the court application that we expect to hear on the 12th of July, that rescission application, should they be unsuccessful, the supporters of Jacob Zuma, at least those who are here, say they're ready to prevent that arrest. Many of them you can see going into the car park, starting to head off, starting to disband. This, as we expect that virtual hearing to happen, is happening through the Pietermaritzburg High Court virtually by Judge Bekisisa Mguni, and that's expected to start at around 11:30.
All right. Karinda Jagmohan, the police clearly needing to take a firm line now, especially after the Nkandla gathering on Sunday. The justification of cause by the police minister yesterday was that the reason police could not effect arrests there was because they had been watching and observing some of those gathered, and some people there were heavily armed, according to the police minister, and therefore police needed to proceed with caution, and that's why no person essentially was arrested. But this morning telling us that cases have at least been opened for 3 people. It would be difficult, I would put it to you, that the police would allow a situation like that to occur again, given that we are under this lockdown restriction 4. Perhaps, Karinda, let's take the viewers into what could be happening inside court. As you stated, 11:30 was the time that this hearing was meant to start. Any idea, any communication as to what the delay is about?
At this point, we're unclear about why there is a delay. We do understand that court proceedings were expected to start at 11:30. Of course, we have seen in the past around court cases regarding essentially public figures. They're not necessarily starting on time. Previously, with regards to Zuma's corruption trial, a separate matter that will return to this court again on the 19th of July. Those matters are usually scheduled to start at around 9 o'clock, but we actually see the judge entering the room itself and proceedings get underway much later. So one can't exactly pinpoint when exactly virtual proceedings are expected to start. But outside court, where the supporters have gathered, they are usually here for quite some time. But in this instance, because of the police line of defense that you're seeing behind me, there's some of the supporters leaving now. They've decided to leave this area to prevent any further arrest. It is correct. The police have had a difficult time to navigate the arrest and prevention of gatherings, specifically with regards to supporters of Jacob Zuma. We did hear the police minister speaking to you actually about this issue. We also saw other comments made by the police spokesperson or communications team about the fact that assessments were done on the ground in Nkandla, and seeing the number of people there, specifically women and children, and knowing that many of the supporters were armed according to their investigations, it would further increase or rather make the situation more volatile should the police have taken any arrest, or at least that's the stance they're taking. In this case, what they're seeing is a smaller number of Zuma supporters here. In fact, you can see now 2 here holding a flag, thank you, supporting Jacob Zuma outside the court. Let's see if we can actually speak to some of them about why they remain here. Hello, so we're live on Newzroom Afrika, ma'am. Perhaps you can just tell us, you know, the police are here, but you're still standing a strong ground, ma'am. Thank you. Why have you decided to stand your ground here, continue your support?
There's something in my mouth. I can't talk.
Okay, well, she's not wanting to speak, but this is 2 supporters that are still standing by. as police continue with their line of defense. They're seemingly not moving, and I presume that they will be here for some time until they're assured that no further gatherings will take place. Perhaps they felt that because it's a smaller crowd, it would be a much easier situation to actually take control of. So we'll keep you updated from the ground outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court while we wait for that virtual hearing to start soon.
Karinda Jagmohan giving us all angles as she monitors the situation outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court. Well, that full team of Newzroom Afrika reporters, including our politics editor, are on the ground in KZN. Some you'll find in Gandla and others outside court. We are here to give you all the perspectives, and then indeed the court, once those proceedings do start,